chosen one. This is not an ordinary night in your life. Something in the spirit has shifted, and even if you cannot yet explain what feels different, your soul already knows that a line is being drawn between what has been and what will never be again. You have carried pain for so long that part of you learned how to function while wounded, how to smile while tired, how to keep moving while something deep inside you quietly asked how much longer this season could possibly last. But hear this clearly tonight. Your pain has not gone unseen, and it has not gone unanswered. God has been watching every silent battle, every hidden ache, every moment when you wanted to give up but still found enough strength to breathe one more prayer into the dark. You are not listening to this by accident. You are here because heaven knows the exact hour when a weary heart needs a word that breaks chains. There are seasons when suffering feels endless, when the pressure seems to come from every side, when delay stretches so long that it begins to sound like a final answer. Yet God has never been trapped by the timelines that terrified you. He has never lost sight of your name. He has never confused your tears with weakness. In fact, the very pain that tried to convince you that you were forgotten is about to become the evidence that God was working where you could not see. For too long, you have lived under the weight of things you never deserved. You have carried disappointment that was heavy enough to bend your spirit. You have walked through betrayal that made trust feel dangerous. You have faced rejection that tried to make you question your worth. You have endured spiritual exhaustion that made even simple obedience feel costly. And still, through all of it, the hand of God remained on your life. That is why you are still here. That is why you did not break when everything around you suggested you would. That is why the darkness that pressed against you could not fully consume you. There is something set apart about your life, and the battles around you have only revealed the greatness of what has been placed within you. Tonight, you are being called out of agreement with despair. You are being called out of that quiet place where pain started speaking louder than promise. You are being called out of the habit of expecting bad news, expecting delay, expecting another closed door, expecting another heartbreak. God is interrupting that pattern. He is not asking you to pretend the wounds were small. He is not asking you to deny the nights you cried yourself to sleep or the days when you felt like no one truly understood the war inside you. He is asking you to see that this pain does not have permission to write your ending. There comes a moment when heaven says enough. Enough hiding. Enough torment. Enough carrying what should have broken long ago. Enough letting fear sit where faith belongs. That moment is sacred, and you are standing in it now. This is the moment when what has haunted your thoughts begins to lose its voice. This is the moment when what has drained your strength begins to release its grip. This is the moment when God reminds you that relief is not a fantasy, and restoration is not reserved for other people. It belongs to you too. You may have asked why the road has been so hard. You may have wondered why others seem to move forward while you were still trying to survive what hit you last season. You may have questioned whether your prayers were rising at all. But God has a way of saving His strongest declarations for the moments when human strength has run out. He waits until you know it cannot be your own power, your own wisdom, your own effort. And then He moves in a way that leaves no confusion about who carried you through. What is beginning over your life is not self-rescue. It is divine intervention. So breathe again. Let your spirit settle into this truth. The pain that has sat on your chest is not permanent. The grief that has followed you is not your identity. The heaviness that tried to become your normal is not your future. God is still God in the middle of your unfinished story, and He is fully able to change what looked impossible to change. He can heal what was damaged, restore what was stolen, revive what grew numb, and open what has been shut for far too long. Nothing in your life is beyond his reach. And because this moment matters, because faith is rising even now, I want you to make one prophetic act of agreement. Comment 777 as a sign that you believe God is breaking the cycle of pain over your life tonight. Let that be your declaration that you are no longer bowing to fear, no longer partnering with hopelessness, and no longer speaking as though darkness gets the final word. Chosen one, the night is not swallowing you. The night is witnessing the beginning of your release. God is moving over places in you that no one else could touch. He is lifting burdens you have carried so long that you almost forgot what lightness feels like. He is restoring your inner ground so that peace can return without apology. He is awakening courage where weariness tried to settle permanently. And as this shift begins, you will not need to force what only God can do. Your role is to receive, to believe, and to keep your heart open when healing starts arriving in ways you did not expect. You are closer than you think to the end of this painful chapter. Not because life has been easy, but because God has decided that what hurt you will not own you. The same voice that called light out of darkness is speaking over you now. The same power that turns mourning into dancing is near to you now. The same mercy that kept you alive through everything that tried to crush you is surrounding you now. Tonight is not the end of your story. It is the end of your agreement with suffering as your portion. And as this message keeps unfolding, you will begin to see that God has been preparing a powerful move over your life all along. Chosen one, what makes this night so holy is not only that God sees your pain, but that He has decided to step into the place where you have suffered in silence and reveal that none of it has been wasted. There are wounds you never fully described to anyone because words felt too small for what you carried. There are disappointments you buried under responsibility because life kept demanding movement even while your heart was trying to recover. There are seasons you survived by grace alone, and now God is showing you that what looked like hidden suffering was never hidden from Him at all. This is where your spirit begins to understand something deeper. Heaven does not measure your life the way people do. People notice the polished parts, the visible victories, the moments that can be celebrated in public. But God watches the unseen places. He watches the nights when you almost gave up. He watches the tears you wiped away before anyone could ask what was wrong. He watches the times you held your peace when everything in you wanted to break apart. He watches the prayers that came out as sighs because you were too tired to form complete sentences. And tonight, He is bringing you into the comfort of knowing that every silent cry reached Him. That is why the story of Joseph begins to breathe so naturally into this moment. Joseph knew what it meant to carry a promise and pain at the same time. He knew what it meant to be marked by God and misunderstood by people. He knew what it meant to have a future spoken over his life while his present looked nothing like that word. When you look at Joseph, you do not see a man whose life moved in a straight line. You see someone who was hated, betrayed, thrown into a pit, sold, falsely accused, forgotten, and delayed. Yet through every chapter, God remained close enough to turn each place of injury into part of a greater plan. You have felt that tension too. You have sensed that your life carries purpose, yet your path has been lined with hardship. You have known in your spirit that God has called you. Yet your circumstances have often looked like contradiction instead of confirmation. That is why Joseph matters here. His story is not just about future greatness. It is about what happens when a chosen life passes through deep pain without losing heaven's mark. Joseph was not abandoned in the pit. Joseph was not abandoned in slavery. Joseph was not abandoned in prison. And you are not abandoned in your current place either. The silence has been one of the hardest parts for you. Not just the pain itself, but the feeling that heaven seemed quiet while everything inside you was asking for relief. Joseph knew that silence. There is no record of immediate rescue when he was thrown away by those closest to him. There was no instant public vindication when lies rose against him. There was no quick correction when he was forgotten in the place where he least deserved to be. But the silence was not emptiness. God was still arranging, still preserving, still positioning, still building a future through places that looked like endings. This is what you must hear tonight. Delay is not always denial. Sometimes it is divine shelter. Sometimes what feels like abandonment is God refusing to let your destiny unfold before the right time. Joseph could not become who he was called to be by skipping the hidden places. Those painful places refined his discernment, deepened his endurance, humbled his strength, and taught him how to carry authority without arrogance. In the same way, your hidden battles have not been meaningless. They have been shaping the inner life that will sustain the outer blessing. There is a verse that speaks directly into your night and into Joseph's journey as well. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm chapter 34, verse 18. Hold that close because it tells the truth about this moment. God is not standing far off waiting for you to become stronger before He draws near. He comes near in the breaking. He comes near in the crushing. He comes near when your soul is tired and your strength feels thin. His nearness is not theory. It is rescue. It is presence. It is holy companionship in the very place where pain tried to make you feel alone. Joseph's pain did not end the day the pit opened beneath him. It did not end the day he entered prison. But something important remained alive through every dark chapter. The presence of God never left him. That is the thread now being placed gently into your own hands. Before the visible change comes, there is a deeper assurance. God is with you in this, not around it, not above it only. In it, in the unanswered place, in the weary place, in the place where you have had to keep trusting without visible proof. He has been nearer than your fear allowed you to feel. So let your heart soften here. You do not have to keep acting as though your pain made you invisible. You do not have to keep interpreting delay as rejection. You do not have to keep assuming that because your story has been hard, your story has lost its promise. Joseph's life proves that hardship cannot cancel what God has spoken. It can only become the road through which heaven reveals its faithfulness more clearly. And that is what is happening now. Your hidden grief is becoming holy ground. Your silent endurance is being seen by the God who never misses one tear. This chapter is not asking you to perform strength. It is inviting you to receive comfort. The God who stood with Joseph in every place of humiliation is standing with you now. And as this message moves forward, you will begin to see that the same God who stayed with him in the dark is already preparing to move in power over your life. Chosen one, the pressure that came against your life was never random. It felt personal because it was aimed at something precious. It felt relentless because darkness does not waste energy on empty vessels. The attack intensified because your life carries weight in the spirit. And what heaven marked, hell tried to disrupt before it could fully rise. That is why so much of your journey has felt like resistance without explanation. You were not imagining the warfare. You were living inside a battle that targeted your calling long before many people around you could even recognize what was on your life. This is where Joseph's story continues to walk beside yours with quiet power. Joseph did not suffer because he was forgotten by God. He suffered because the favor on his life provoked reactions before the fulfillment of his assignment arrived. The dream was there before the throne. The oil of destiny was there before public honor. The mark of God was there before the visible evidence. And because that mark was already present, resistance rose early. Jealousy saw him before celebration did. Betrayal found him before promotion did. The pit opened before the palace did. That pattern matters because it explains something about your own life. You have been wondering why opposition often appeared at the very places where hope first began to stir. You have asked why relationships shifted when your spirit began to grow. You have wondered why confusion, rejection, and strange delays met you at moments that should have been simple. Yet Joseph's life shows you that spiritual resistance often gathers around what carries future impact. The enemy does not wait until the full expression of purpose becomes visible. He tries to wound the seed before it becomes a tree. He tries to confuse the chosen one before clarity matures into authority. But here is the truth that changes everything tonight. The attack revealed your value more than your weakness. The pressure exposed the importance of what you carry. The fact that your path has been contested is not proof that you are off course. In many cases, it is proof that your life was moving towards something that mattered. Joseph's brothers could not stop the dream by throwing him into a pit. The pit only became one more place where God's sovereignty proved stronger than human cruelty. Potiphar's house could not erase the promise. Prison could not cancel the assignment. Delay could not bury the word that heaven had already spoken. And this is why you must stop interpreting every battle as a sign that you are failing. Some of the hardest seasons came because you were standing closer to purpose than you realized. Some of the fiercest resistance came because your obedience was threatening structures that depended on your silence. Some of the confusion rose because your life was never designed to stay small, manageable, and hidden. Joseph was attacked because he carried tomorrow inside him. You have been attacked because you carry more than your current surroundings can explain. There is also another lesson in Joseph's story that reaches directly into your heart right now. Not every wound came from strangers. Some pain came from people close enough to know your name, your sincerity, and your value, yet they still mishandled what God placed in you. That kind of pain cuts deeper because it tempts you to close your heart and guard your calling with fear. Joseph knew that pain. He was not first betrayed by distant enemies. He was wounded by those who should have recognized him, and still, the betrayal did not have the final word over his life. This matters because the same will be true for you. What wounded you deeply will not define you permanently. You are learning that God can carry a chosen life through hostility without allowing hostility to become that life's identity. Joseph did not become the pit. He did not become the prison. He did not become the accusation. He passed through those places, but he remained set apart within them. That is the invitation over your life now. Do not become the attack that came against you. Do not let bitterness rewrite your nature. Do not let disappointment train your mouth to speak only defeat. You are passing through resistance, but resistance is not your name. As this truth settles in, something steadier begins to rise in you. You start seeing that your history is not merely a list of painful events. It is also a record of preservation. You survived what should have shattered your confidence. You kept moving when fear tried to freeze your steps. You prayed through nights when your soul felt stripped of language. You are still standing, and that alone is evidence that God has been defending more in your life than you could see at the time. Joseph's story did not move forward because the attack was weak. It moved forward because God's purpose was stronger. So guard this moment well. Let it teach you how to reinterpret the battle. What came against you was real, but it was not ultimate. What opposed you was fierce, but it was not sovereign. What tried to bury your hope was powerful, but it was never greater than the hand of God. And as your spirit awakens to this, let your response be simple and sincere. If this message is speaking to your season, let it stay close to you. You can gently like, share, and subscribe so this kind of encouragement keeps reaching you and reaches someone else who may be carrying a silent battle tonight. And if you feel led to support this work, there is also a way to donate in the description. Chosen one. The warfare around your life did not begin because you were empty. It began because you were marked. The darkness recognized movement before you did. The resistance sensed purpose before fulfillment became visible. Yet none of that changes the outcome God has written. Joseph's story proves that being targeted does not mean being defeated. It means heaven must now reveal, step by step, that what it placed inside you cannot be overthrown by pits, prisons, betrayal, or delay. And as this message keeps unfolding, you will see even more clearly that the very pain meant to stop you is becoming the stage where God's power begins to speak. Chosen one. There comes a point when God no longer allows pain to sit on the throne of your inner life. There comes a holy turning when what hurt you begins to lose its authority, not because the past suddenly disappears, but because the hand of God becomes heavier than the weight of every wound you have carried. This is where reversal begins. Quietly at first, deeply at first, sometimes invisibly at first, but truly. And that is the kind of movement unfolding over your life now. What bruised your heart, exhausted your mind, and tested your faith is no longer the highest power in the room. God is stepping into the story with restoring force. This is also where Joseph's journey becomes even more meaningful for you. There was a long stretch of his life when everything seemed to move in the wrong direction. He had the dream, but then came the pit. He had the gift, but then came servitude. He had integrity, but then came false accusation. He had answers, but then came delay. If anyone could have concluded that pain had won, it would have been Joseph. Yet the deepest truth of his story is this: God was never absent in the downward chapters. God was preparing reversal inside the very places that looked like ruin. You understand that feeling more than most. There were seasons when life seemed to move backward instead of forward. You did the right thing and still paid a price. You stayed faithful and still felt overlooked. You kept your heart clean and still found yourself carrying consequences created by other people's envy, dishonesty, or selfishness. That kind of pain is especially difficult because it tempts you to believe that righteousness goes unnoticed. But Joseph's life stands as a witness against that lie. God knows how to preserve the one who has been mishandled. He knows how to restore the one who has been delayed. He knows how to reverse what was intended for harm without wasting a single part of the process. Reversal does not always begin with a public miracle. Sometimes it begins with a quiet strengthening inside you. You start thinking differently. You stop giving permanent names to temporary suffering. You stop assuming that what happened to you has the right to define what happens next. You begin to recognize that healing is not denial. It is agreement with God against the rule of pain. Joseph did not become powerful the day he stood before Pharaoh. Power had already been formed in him across hidden years of restraint, faithfulness, and endurance. In the same way, God's restoring hand is not only changing what surrounds you, it is also changing what has been happening within you. That inner restoration matters because pain always tries to leave a secondary wound. The first wound is what happened. The The second wound is what it tries to teach you to believe. It tries to teach you that you are forgotten, that goodness has no reward, that trust is foolish, that hope is dangerous, that your best days belong to someone else. But when God begins to reverse what hurt you, He does not only address the event, He addresses the lie that tried to grow out of it. He uproots the false conclusions. He washes fear out of the places where expectation used to live. He restores your ability to believe again without pretending that the battle never happened. Joseph experienced this kind of reversal in a way that was unmistakably divine. The prison did not have the final word. The false accusation did not have the final word. Being forgotten by the cupbearer did not have the final word. At the right moment, God caused the very gift Joseph carried to bring him out of confinement and into influence. What years could not solve by human effort, one appointed moment under God's timing began to transform. That does not mean the pain was small. It means the purpose of God was greater. Hold close this truth from Scripture. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose. Romans chapter 8, verse 28. This verse does not say all things are good. Joseph's betrayal was not good. The pit was not good. The prison was not good. Your heartbreak was not good. Your rejection was not good. Your delay was not good. But God works through all things with a wisdom so deep and a power so complete that He can gather the broken pieces and build testimony where destruction once tried to reign. That is why tonight is not about pretending nothing hurt. It is about recognizing that what hurt you is now under a higher command. God is reclaiming territory in your life. He is reclaiming your peace from fear. He is reclaiming your confidence from disappointment. He is reclaiming your vision from exhaustion. He is reclaiming your future from every voice that said the damage was final. And as He does this, you will notice that the things which once kept you awake no longer hold the same authority. The memories may still exist, but they do not sit in the center anymore. God takes the center back. Joseph could not have imagined, while sitting in darkness, how fully God would turn the story. Yet when the turning came, it revealed that heaven had been moving all along. That is what you are beginning to sense now. Behind the delay, God was arranging. Behind the silence, God was guarding. Behind the loss, God was preserving something that could not be trusted to the wrong season. What looked like the slow destruction of your hope was actually the hidden protection of your calling. So let your spirit receive this without resistance. God is reversing what hurt you. Not in theory, not in distant symbolism, in real ways, in deep ways, in ways that touch your thoughts, your emotions, your future, and your sense of identity. The pain that once seemed to narrate your life is being pushed out of the place of authority. Joseph's story proves that suffering can be severe and still not be final. And now that same truth is moving toward you like dawn after a long night. What wounded you will not rule you. What delayed you will not define you. What tried to break you is about to witness the restoring hand of God over your life. Chosen one, before we go deeper, there is one gentle note for those of you who have been feeling mentally drained, overwhelmed, scattered, or unable to focus after carrying so much pressure for so long. Some people have found support in a digital audio program called the Genius Wave, also called Genius Song, which is presented as a short daily listening tool designed to help with focus, clarity, creativity, calm, and mental reset through brainwave-based sound technology. If that feels relevant to your season, you can look for the official information in the description or the pinned comment. And if you ever decide to try it, be careful of imitations and use only the official source. Now return with me to the deeper place, because what God is doing in you goes far beyond mental recovery alone. He is not only helping you survive the pain, He is transforming the very place where you once felt weakest into a place of strength, discernment, and holy authority. This is one of the most powerful mysteries of the chosen life. The wound does not get the final word. The weakness does not become the end of the story. Under the hand of God, even the place that once made you tremble becomes the place from which wisdom begins to speak. This is where Joseph's journey reaches into your own spirit with unusual tenderness. Joseph knew what it meant to be crushed in places that should have nurtured him. He knew what it meant to carry a dream while walking through humiliation. He knew the ache of being seen wrongly, treated unjustly, and forced to mature in hidden pain. Yet the very places that could have turned him cold became the places where God taught him how to endure without losing purity, how to remain faithful without visible reward, and how to carry a steady spirit when life around him refused to make sense. That is what is happening in you now. Even if you have not had language for it, you thought the painful place only revealed what was fragile in you. God says it also revealed what was forming in you. You thought the delay only showed your limits. God says it was also building your depth. You thought the rejection only exposed what people refused to value. God says it was separating you from the rooms that were too small for your assignment. You thought the exhaustion meant you were failing. God says it was forcing you to stop leaning on a shallow kind of strength so that a deeper one could rise. There are kinds of strength you can only receive after your own has run out. There is a wisdom that only enters when pride has been stripped away. There is a calm authority that cannot be performed, only forged. Joseph did not gain that in a moment of applause. He gained it in the hidden years, when no crowd celebrated him, when no outer sign confirmed the greatness still concealed within him. The pit taught him surrender. The house of servitude taught him discipline. The prison taught him patience. None of those places were easy, but each one gave him something the palace alone could never have formed. You are discovering the same holy pattern. The place where you cried the most is teaching you how to comfort others without empty language. The season where you felt overlooked is teaching you how to stay rooted without the addiction to human approval. The time when you had to wait and wait again is teaching you not to panic when heaven moves slower than your fear would like. Even your disappointments are being used to cleanse your expectations and strengthen your ability to hear God with greater clarity. This is why your weakest place is becoming power, not because pain itself is glorious, but because God refuses to let pain remain wasted. He extracts wisdom from what tried to confuse you. He draws compassion out of what tried to harden you. He builds discernment through the very betrayals that once made you question people, timing, and even yourself. He teaches you how to recognize what is true, what is shallow, what is urgent, and what is merely noise. And that kind of inner strength cannot be bought, copied, or rushed. Joseph became trustworthy in obscurity before he was ever placed in visibility. That matters for you because many people want the breakthrough without the formation. They want elevation without refinement. They want authority without inner government. But God loves you too deeply to place you into your next season with an unhealed soul and an unstable center. So while you were asking why this process felt so long, He was shaping the part of you that must remain whole when greater responsibility comes. He was not punishing you. He was preparing you. And now you are beginning to feel the result. You do not break as easily where you once would have collapsed. You do not react as quickly where you once would have spiraled. You do not chase every voice, every opinion, every sudden emotion the way you once did. Something quieter and stronger is rising in you. Not hardness, not numbness, authority. The kind that comes from having survived deep waters with God and discovering that His presence is not poetic language but sustaining reality. Joseph carried this authority before the world had a title for it. By the time he stood before Pharaoh, there was already a depth in him that the years of hardship had carved. He was not merely gifted, he was formed. He was not merely talented, he was tempered. He was not merely dreaming. He had become the kind of man who could hold weight without being crushed by it. That is the work God has been doing in you. The places where you felt reduced were actually the places where heaven was enlarging your inner life. So do not despise what God has built through your tear. Do not speak of your survival as if it were a small thing. Do not look at your scars and imagine they only testify to loss. In the hands of God, they also testify to endurance, to pruning, to mercy, to hidden preservation, and to the kind of formation that makes a chosen one impossible to counterfeit. What once looked like weakness is becoming one of the clearest signs that God has been at work in secret. Chosen one, your weakest place is not disqualifying you. It is becoming the very ground where God's strength can stand without confusion. Joseph's story proves that the painful process can shape a soul for purpose instead of destroying it. And now that same divine pattern is unfolding in your life. The broken place is becoming a place of power. The trembling place is becoming a place of steadiness. The wounded place is becoming a place of wisdom. And as this message moves forward, you will begin to see that what God formed in the dark is ready to stand in the light. Chosen one, after a long delay, there comes a moment when what has been held back begins to move. And when that movement starts, it often feels almost unreal because you have lived so long in waiting that sudden change can seem harder to trust than continued silence. But this is the hour when you must understand that delay was never the same as denial. Delay was the hidden workshop of God. Delay was the place where timing, character, endurance, and unseen arrangements were being brought together. Delay was the road Joseph walked for years before the door finally opened in a way no human hand could have forced. Joseph could not rush his way out of the pit. He could not argue his way out of slavery. He could not explain himself out of prison. There were seasons in his life where obedience looked like waiting without visible proof that anything was changing. That kind of waiting is one of the deepest tests a chosen one can face because it confronts every part of you that wants quick confirmation. It exposes how badly your heart longs for reassurance. It reveals how easily your mind can mistake stillness for abandonment. Yet what Joseph's story shows so clearly is that while nothing seemed to move on the surface, heaven was never idle. You have lived inside that mystery too. You prayed and saw no immediate answer. You stayed faithful and still watched doors remain shut. You did what was right and still found yourself standing in the same place longer than you expected. There were times when you wondered whether your season had become stuck, whether your breakthrough had passed you by, whether the silence itself was the answer. But chosen one, God was not ignoring you. He was aligning what could not be seen. He was preserving you from doors that would have opened too soon. He was shaping your inner life so that when the right opening came, you would be able to walk through it with steadiness instead of panic. That is what makes a God-opened door different from a self-forced one. A self-forced door may flatter the ego, but it cannot sustain the calling. A God-opened door comes with timing, weight, grace, and the strength to stand in what is being released. Joseph's life turned in a single appointed moment when he was called to stand before Pharaoh. But that moment only made sense because of all the hidden years that came before it. The delay was not wasted time, it was formation. The waiting was not empty space, it was preparation. The long stretch of confinement was not proof that the promise had died. It was proof that the promise was being protected until the right hour. There are doors beginning to shift in your life because heaven knows you are not who you were when this process began. You have been deepened by prayer, sobered by pain, purified by disappointment, and strengthened by endurance. You do not carry the same naivete you once had, but you also do not need to become cynical. God has been teaching you how to remain soft before Him while becoming strong within yourself. That is why this next opening will not simply be about access, it will also be about readiness. The delay created room for maturity, and maturity is one of the clearest signs that a door from God is near. Joseph did not enter his moment of lifting as the same young man who first dreamed. He had become clearer, steadier, and wiser. He knew how to hold silence without collapsing. He knew how to serve without applause. He knew how to interpret a moment without being intoxicated by it. In the same way, the doors opening for you after long delay are not coming to the version of you that first asked for them. They are coming to the version of you shaped by hidden seasons, refined by tears, and anchored more deeply in God than before. This is why what is ahead will have a different weight. It is not merely a wish being granted. It is a prepared path meeting a prepared soul. As you feel this truth settling in, protect your expectation from fear. Do not speak as though every closed season has to repeat itself forever. Do not let old disappointments prophesy over new moments. What stayed shut before does not have authority over what God is opening now. Joseph could have let prison train him to expect permanent limitation, but the appointed day still came. The call still came. The opening still came. And when it came, no one who had forgotten him could stop what God was doing. So stay open in spirit. Stay close to the voice of God. And if this message is strengthening your faith in a season of waiting, you can quietly like, share, and subscribe so more hearts carrying hidden delay can receive the same encouragement. And for those who feel led to support this work, there is a way to donate in the description. Chosen one. The long delay was not the end of your story. It was the hidden corridor before the door. It was the sacred pause before the shift. It was the place where God was doing slow and holy work that only becomes visible when the opening finally arrives. Joseph's story proves that a delayed life is not a denied life. It proves that a confined season can still lead into influence. That forgotten years can still be gathered into purpose. And that one moment under God's timing can begin to move what long seasons could not. So do not despise the waiting anymore. Bless the God who kept you through it. Honor the process that formed you inside it, and lift your eyes, because the same God who opened a way for Joseph after years of hidden pain is still opening what no fear, no delay, no human resistance, and no dark season has the power to keep shut forever. What has been blocked is beginning to shift. What has been withheld is coming under divine timing. What has been delayed is moving toward release. And you are not standing at the end of your hope. You are standing at the edge of a door that God Himself has prepared to open. Chosen one. There is a moment in every long battle when the voices against you begin to sound louder than the voice within you. It is not always because they are stronger. Sometimes it is because you have been tired for too long, wounded for too long, and forced to endure for so long that even a lie starts to feel believable when it keeps repeating itself. That is one of the enemy's oldest strategies. If he cannot destroy what God placed in you, he will try to surround it with words that confuse, shame, diminish, and exhaust you until you begin to doubt your own spiritual footing. But tonight, those voices are being confronted. Tonight, what has been speaking against your peace is beginning to lose permission to remain. Joseph knew this battlefield well before God lifted him publicly. He had to live through many seasons where false voices tried to shape his identity. His brothers said through their actions that he was disposable. The pit said he was abandoned. Slavery said he was reduced. The false accusation of Potiphar's wife said he was corrupt. The prison said he was forgotten. Each stage carried a message, and every message was designed to force Joseph into agreement with something beneath what God had spoken over him. But the miracle in Joseph's life was not only that he survived those voices. It was that he did not become them. That is where your own spirit is being strengthened right now, because some of the deepest harm did not come only from what happened to you. It also came from what was spoken over you while you were vulnerable. There were words that tried to define your future by your worst season. There were judgments that tried to reduce your worth to one painful chapter. There were cold opinions, careless accusations, dismissive labels, and even quiet spiritual suggestions in your own mind that told you to expect less, trust less, hope less, and become smaller. And after enough pain, those voices can begin to echo even when the people who spoke them are no longer present. But God is dealing with that inner echo now. He is not merely healing events. He is silencing agreements. He is exposing the false narratives that tried to attach themselves to your identity. He is breaking the authority of every word that rose against his intention for your life. Joseph's story teaches you something powerful here. A false word can delay a person, wound a person, and misrepresent a person, but it cannot overthrow what God has decided to preserve. Joseph was falsely accused, yet the accusation did not become his destiny. He was misjudged, yet the misjudgment could not outlive the purpose of God. This is why you must begin to separate yourself from the voices that came from pain. Not every voice in your head is wisdom. Not every self-accusation is discernment. Not every fear is prophecy. Some thoughts are just the residue of battle. Some inner sentences are the leftovers of rejection. Some expectations of failure are only the language of old wounds trying to protect themselves from hope. But God is not asking you to keep building your future on the vocabulary of injury. He is calling you into agreement with truth. And truth does not flatter you, it frees you. Truth says you are not what betrayal called you. Truth says you are not what delay made you feel like. Truth says you are not what false accusation suggested. Truth says that being wounded is not the same as being worthless, that being delayed is not the same as being denied, and that being misunderstood is not the same as being unseen by God. Joseph could have let prison become his identity, but instead prison became a passing chapter under a greater promise. In the same way, what people said about you, what pain whispered to you, and what fear repeated to you do not have the right to become your final name. Listen to this word from Scripture. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue which rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. This is not only about physical attack, it is also about the power of words. Judgments, curses, assumptions, and verbal assignments that try to shape your life against the will of God. The verse does not say tongues will never rise, they do rise. Joseph proves that. Lies do rise. Misunderstanding does rise. Judgment does rise. But they do not prosper when God has set his hand upon a life. This is where holy freedom begins to enter. You no longer need to keep defending yourself before every voice that misunderstands you. You no longer need to internalize every criticism, every cold sentence, every false assumption. You do not need to chase acceptance from people who only knew one fragment of your story. Joseph was not vindicated by arguing with the prison walls. He was vindicated by the timing and action of God. There is deep peace in understanding that you are not responsible to make every voice agree with you. Your responsibility is to remain aligned with truth while God handles what must eventually collapse. And collapse it will. The voices against you cannot stand forever in the presence of what God is revealing. Lies can survive for a season, but they cannot survive forever against a life God is steadily unveiling. That is why you must hold your peace and guard your spirit. The God who preserved Joseph through accusation also preserved the truth of who Joseph was. The same God is preserving the truth of who you are. He is not confused by the lies. He is not moved by the judgments. He is not shaken by the voices that tried to speak over your future. Chosen one, let the false words fall away now. Let the old labels break. Let the hidden agreements with shame, inferiority, fear, and defeat be dismantled by the presence of God. What was spoken against you is not greater than what heaven has spoken over you. Joseph's life proves that false narratives can surround a chosen one without possessing that chosen one. And now that same grace is resting on your life. The voices against you are collapsing. The accusations are losing power. The judgments are being overturned, and in the quiet that follows, you will begin to hear the voice of God more clearly than ever before. Chosen one, after the battle of voices begins to quiet, something sacred starts returning to you. It is not empty silence. It is not numbness. It is not the kind of fragile calm that disappears the moment pressure rises again. It is peace, but not peace alone. It is peace carrying fire. It is healing carrying strength. It is rest carrying authority. God is not merely bringing you into a softer emotional state. He is restoring you in a way that makes you both tender and bold, both calm and clear, both quiet in spirit and strong in purpose. This is the kind of peace that does not make you passive. It makes you unshakable. That is why Joseph's story still speaks so powerfully here. After the betrayals, after the pit, after the slavery, after the false accusation, after the prison, Joseph did not emerge as a man consumed by rage. He did not emerge as a man ruled by revenge. He did not carry the kind of power that needed to wound others in order to feel healed. Instead, something deeper had happened within him. God had preserved his inner life. God had guarded the center of his spirit. God had not only kept Joseph alive through suffering, but had also kept bitterness from becoming his master. That is a miracle many people overlook. You are entering that kind of miracle now. Because one of the greatest signs of healing is not simply that the pain stops hurting in the same way. It is that your heart becomes free from needing darkness in order to explain itself. You no longer need your wounds to be your identity. You no longer need your sorrow to be your language. You no longer need your struggle to be the only proof that your story mattered. God is giving you back the ability to breathe without dread, to think without heaviness, to pray without feeling like every word must drag itself through exhaustion. That is holy restoration. And yet God is not only calming you, He is filling you. This is where the fire returns, not the fire of panic, not the fire of emotional chaos, not the fire of striving, the holy fire of renewed spirit, the kind that wakes your faith back up, the kind that clears the fog from your discernment, the kind that reminds you who you are after a long season of survival. There were days when you were too tired to feel anything but pressure, too wounded to expect joy, too drained to imagine clarity returning. But God does not restore halfway. When He restores, He brings both peace for your pain and fire for your calling. Joseph needed both. Peace alone would have comforted him, but fire was required for the responsibility ahead. He would need calm to survive the memory of what had happened, but he would also need vision, wisdom, and spiritual steadiness to step into the role prepared for him. In the same way, what God is doing in you is not only for relief, it is also for readiness. He is healing the places that were inflamed by fear, but he is also awakening the places that must live again with conviction, focus, and holy confidence. He is bringing your soul out of distress so your purpose can breathe again. This is why peace returning to you does not mean you are becoming smaller. It means you are becoming clearer. And clarity is dangerous to darkness. A confused believer is easier to push around. A weary soul is easier to intimidate. A heart trapped in constant emotional noise is easier to distract. But when peace settles over you and holy fire rises within you, you stop reacting to every shadow. You stop trembling before every delay. You stop believing every lie that knocks at your mind. You become anchored, you become discerning, you become able to stand in the middle of uncertainty without losing the sound of God's voice. Listen to this promise from Scripture. You will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3. That verse is not describing shallow comfort. It is describing a mind held steady by trust. It is the kind of peace Joseph had to learn in hidden places, not because his circumstances were easy, but because God was teaching him how to remain inwardly held while outwardly tested. And now that same grace is reaching for you. God is steadying your mind. He is quieting the panic. He is washing the residue of fear out of your thinking. He is bringing your spirit back into alignment. So receive this moment personally. Your peace is not gone forever. Your clarity is not dead. Your passion is not buried beyond recovery. The part of you that has lived too long in tension is being called back into rest. The part of you that became cautious from repeated pain is being reintroduced to trust. The part of you that almost forgot what spiritual strength feels like is being ignited again. Joseph's life shows that after long suffering, a soul can still emerge whole, wise, and filled with purpose. That same possibility stands before you tonight. And because this return matters, seal it with one simple response. Comment, "I receive peace." Let that be your agreement with what God is doing in your spirit right now. Let it be your way of rejecting the old atmosphere of heaviness and opening your heart to the calm strength of heaven. Chosen one, peace is returning, but it is not returning alone. It comes with holy fire. It comes with renewed vision. It comes with courage that does not need noise to prove itself. It comes with the strength to move forward without dragging old fear into every new moment. Joseph carried that peace when the time came for his life to expand. And now God is planting that same steadiness in you. The storm inside is calming. The fire inside is rising. The wound is healing. The spirit is awakening. And as this message moves forward, you will see that peace is not the end of the journey. It is the atmosphere in which glory begins to rest on your life. Chosen one, by now you can feel the shape of this transformation. You are no longer standing in the same inner place where this message first found you. Something has been lifting. Something has been clearing. Something has been gathering strength beneath the surface. And now that strength is no longer meant to remain hidden. This is the place where you rise marked by glory, not by human applause, not by performance, not by the fragile approval of people who only celebrate what they can easily understand, but by the visible evidence that God has carried you through fire and brought you out carrying more light than before. This is where Joseph's story reaches one of its most breathtaking moments. The same man who had once been thrown into a pit by those closest to him, the same man who had been sold, accused, delayed, and forgotten, now stood in a position no pain could have predicted. But what made Joseph remarkable was not only that he rose, it was how he rose. He did not rise hollow. He did not rise bitter. He did not rise desperate to prove himself. He rose with the weight of formation on his life. He rose carrying wisdom shaped by suffering, restraint shaped by waiting, and compassion shaped by having known what it means to be low before being lifted. That is the kind of rising God is writing over you. He is not merely bringing you out so you can say the hard season ended. He is bringing you out with a mark that cannot be faked. There is a difference between being noticed and being marked by glory. To be noticed is to attract attention for a moment. To be marked by glory is to carry a presence, a steadiness, a depth, and a testimony that tells anyone with spiritual eyes that God has done something profound in you. The mark is not noise, it is evidence. It is not self-promotion. It is holy residue from a life that has passed through suffering and remained under the hand of God. For a long time, pain tried to mark you in another way. It tried to put heaviness on your face, fear in your choices, shame in your posture, and limitation in your expectations. It wanted your story to be read through loss alone. It wanted people, and even you, to mistake your wounded places for your entire identity. But God does not leave His chosen ones permanently branded by affliction. There comes a moment when the mark of survival gives way to the mark of glory. The memory of what happened may still exist, but it no longer defines the atmosphere you carry. Something holier becomes visible, a deeper peace, a cleaner vision, a stronger center, a quieter authority. Joseph carried that kind of authority when he stood in power. He did not need to announce that he had changed. His life revealed it, his ability to interpret, to govern, to remain composed, and to act with wisdom after so much suffering revealed that God had done more than rescue him. God had adorned him with maturity. God had set a visible distinction on his life. Even those who did not know the full journey could see the result. That is what God is preparing in you. He is not only removing pain, He is revealing His work. This matters because the next season of your life cannot be entered only as someone who escaped trouble. It must be entered as someone who now carries proof of divine preservation. The glory of God on a life does not mean the person never suffered. Joseph proves the opposite. Glory often rests most clearly on those who have walked through deep valleys and come out with their spirit intact. It rests on those who could have become corrupted by disappointment but instead became wiser. It rests on those who could have turned cold after betrayal but instead became deeper, clearer, and more surrendered to God. And now that same distinction is beginning to settle over you. You may not even recognize all of it yet. Because when God marks a life, the person carrying that mark is often the last to understand how visible it has become. You only know that certain fears do not own you the way they used to. You only know that your mind is cleaner than it was. You only know that some battles which once consumed your inner world now fail to move you in the same way. You only know that your spirit has become more alert, more grounded, and more able to remain still before God. But these are not small changes. These are signs of glory taking shape. Hear this word from Scripture and arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. Isaiah chapter 60 verse 1. That is not a verse for a perfect person who has never known sorrow. It is a summons to rise because divine light has arrived. It is an invitation to stop bowing before old darkness when the glory of God has begun to rest on your life. Joseph lived that reality. He rose, not because his history had been easy, but because God's light had the final word over his history. You are being called into that same rising now. There is dignity returning to you. There is spiritual beauty returning to you. There is a kind of confidence returning to you that does not need to force itself into every room because it already knows who holds the room together. You are no longer merely the one who endured. You are becoming the one who carries evidence. Evidence that God keeps. Evidence that God restores. Evidence that God can take a life through betrayal, confusion, delay, and hidden suffering, then bring that life forward with more radiance than before. Joseph's story has walked beside you through this message because his life reveals what yours is now beginning to embody. The pit did not define him. The prison did not define him. The lies did not define him. The glory of God defined the final shape of his story. And that same truth is now settling over your own life. You are rising marked by glory, marked by survival, yes, but even more by transformation, marked by what you endured, but far more by what God made of you through it. The night is almost behind you. The evidence of God's power is becoming visible, and what rises now is not the broken version of you trying to feel strong. It is the chosen one, refined by pain, steadied by grace, and carrying the unmistakable mark of God's glory. Chosen one. Morning begins a new season, and you are not stepping into it as the same person who first entered this night. Something has changed in you while these words have been unfolding. The weight that once sat heavily on your spirit is no longer holding the same power. The fear that once tried to speak over your future is losing its voice. The pain that followed you like a shadow is being pushed back by the light of God's presence. What is beginning now is not a fragile emotional moment. It is the opening of a new chapter where joy returns with purpose. Obedience becomes clearer, and victory starts to feel less like a distant dream and more like the language of your real life. Joseph's story has brought you to this threshold for a reason. He did not remain forever in the place of betrayal. He did not remain forever in confinement. He did not remain forever under the memory of what others had done to him. There came a morning in his life when the hidden years gave way to visible purpose, when the doors that no human hand could open swung wide under God's timing, and when the one who had suffered in obscurity stood in the place that heaven had prepared all along. That is the kind of transition standing before you now. Not a life with no memory of hardship, but a life no longer ruled by hardship. This new season will not be built on panic. It will not be built on striving. It will not be built on the old habit of expecting disappointment before anything has even begun. God is teaching you to walk differently now. He is teaching you to expect His goodness without guilt. He is teaching you to obey without dragging yesterday's fear into today's assignment. He is teaching you to receive peace without feeling like you must earn it through exhaustion. Morning has that kind of mercy. It does not ask the night for permission to arrive. It simply comes. And when it comes, everything begins to look different under the light. You are entering that light now. There will still be steps to take, choices to make, discipline to keep, and faith to practice. But the atmosphere has shifted. What once felt blocked is no longer sealed in the same way. What once felt impossible is no longer speaking with the same authority. What once felt like an ending has revealed itself to be preparation. Joseph discovered that the years had not been stolen from him after all. God had gathered them into a design too wise to be understood early, and you will discover the same. The seasons that felt wasted will begin to show their hidden fruit. The prayers that felt unanswered will reveal that heaven was shaping a better answer than the one you first imagined. And right here, let your heart lean into prayer, because this is not just a message to hear. It is a moment to agree with before God. Father, in the name of Jesus, I place this chosen one before you now. You have seen every hidden tear, every long night, every silent question, every burden that words could not fully carry. Thank you for keeping them through what should have broken them. Thank you for preserving their mind, their spirit, and their purpose even in seasons they did not understand. Let this be the morning where heaviness lifts, where fear breaks, where peace settles deeply, and where new strength rises. Heal what still aches. Restore what was drained. Revive what grew tired. Open what must now open. Close every door that does not carry your hand. Let clarity return. Let holy courage return. Let joy return. Let this chosen one walk into the next season with clean vision, steady faith, and complete trust that you are still writing their story with mercy and power. And let every part of their life testify that what you begin, you are faithful to complete. Amen. Chosen one, receive that prayer as your own. Let it settle into your spirit like morning light through an open window. You do not have to force this new season into being. You only have to walk with God as it unfolds. Obedience will matter here. Listening will matter here. Protecting your peace will matter here. But you are no longer walking as someone abandoned in the dark. You are walking as someone led forward by the God who kept you alive through the night. So take this message with you into what comes next. Let it remind you that pain is not your identity. Delay is not your destiny, and suffering is not the language that will define the rest of your life. The God who stood with Joseph through every hidden chapter is the same God leading you now into a season of visible grace. And if this message has walked with you tonight in a meaningful way, you can gently like, share, and subscribe so that others carrying their own silent night can receive strength as well. And for those who feel led to help support this work, there is a way to donate in the description. Morning has begun. Your spirit knows it. Your heart feels it. Your future will reveal it. You are not who the pain tried to make you. You are not who the delay tried to reduce you to. You are God's chosen one, and this new season will teach you what it means to live like someone whose night has ended and whose light has come.